Hi everyone, I'm Rui, and in this video we'll be using GQI time dimension querying capabilities to retrieve historical parameter data from products, filtering out specific time ranges and aggregating the resulting data in different ways. Let's get into it. The DataMiner Generic Query Interface, or GQI for short, consists of a single query language and API that allows you to query, filter, and aggregate any of the vast amounts of data in your data lake. It works with any of the data from your DataMiner system, no matter how that data is retrieved or stored. Displayed in the trending graph is an optical FiberLink bandwidth utilization over time. Time ranges can be user-defined, for example, today so far, yesterday, last week, last month, and more. At the current time range, nothing really stands out, but if we switch to last week, and especially last month, we start to see a daily pattern. Traffic tends to be higher during work hours too. So even though the trend chart already produces meaningful information, there are still additional insights that can be extracted from this data that aren't that obvious. In this video, we'll translate this trend data into further actionable insights using GQI. We will start by calculating the overall average traffic and the overall maximum traffic, and then carry on from there. For this, we'll need to create a new GQI query. First, we need to select our data source by fetching the parameter table by ID. This is the name of the table. We select the history box to retrieve historical data for all columns in the table that have trending enabled. Because of this, we need to specify a time range. Now, we don't want it to be fixed. We want it to be fed by this time range component we already have on our canvas. Finally, because there are many interfaces on this switch, we need to filter it by display key to make sure we're looking at the right FiberLink interface. We're almost there. Let's look at the intermediate results from the query in its current state. For the columns where trending is enabled, only the interface utilization in this case, DataMiner keeps the average, minimum, and maximum over 5-minute intervals per row. All that's left now is to aggregate the average of the interface utilization. This will result in the overall average of the interface utilization over the periods in the selected time range. For the overall maximum traffic, we simply use the same query, except for aggregating the maximum instead of the average. Notice how the overall average and maximum traffic changes depending on the selected time range. As we noticed before, most daily traffic tends to occur during business hours. Therefore, it's important to differentiate between the two. For this, we will add the time pattern option to the query we built earlier. In this case, we want to only count all weekdays from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Bandwidth utilization can also differ from business day to business day. We can start off again by fetching the historical data for the FiberLink interface as before. But now, to visualize the average and maximum bandwidth utilization on each individual business day, we need to make use of the start time column, getting rid of the time segment, and group it by day at the end. Let's go ahead and add a column manipulation. We want to manipulate the start time column. We'll be using regex to filter out the time segment, and assign a new name to the resulting column called simply date. We can now see the new column on the table. Now let's aggregate on the average and the maximum bandwidth utilization. And finally, group by the date column. You can see how the number of displayed days will change depending on the selected time range. Now finally, we simply use this new query on a different component visualization. Two bar charts, in fact. One for the average utilization during each business day, and another for the maximum utilization during each business day. These bar charts teach us which one is the busiest business day and which one was the quietest, what were their corresponding average and maximum bandwidth utilization. This was just a taste of what you can already do with GQI, especially if you're in a DevOps team or even want to take a DevOps-oriented initiative. GQI will make it very easy to build powerful applications with meaningful insights for your team, with little to no coding experience. There are many more querying functionalities coming in the future, so be sure to keep an eye out. Meanwhile, I hope you enjoyed this demo and I will see you next time.